Good morning, everyone. Good morning to those of you here in person. Good morning to those of you with us on Zoom. Good morning to people catching this video whenever they want on YouTube. So as most of you know or figured out when you arrived this morning at church, we are in the midst of a COVID spread at our church. So as of last count, 26 people who were here in the building last week have since tested positive. As far as I am aware, everyone has very mild symptoms. So people who said, oh, I thought it was a cold, but then I decided to test. So I think we're doing okay. And I know we have worked so hard now for so many years to keep this from happening, right? And then it happened. So that's why the rest of you are wearing masks today. That's why so many people are on Zoom today. That's why we're taking all the steps we can to keep each other safe and well, because that is how we act in the midst of times that are impossible, when risks are hard to manage, and the joy of our All Souls music service last Sunday was important. So we hold it all in all of its contradiction and all of its murkiness, and we gather together to try to make a little bit of sense and see a way through together. So come, let us gather. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. Welcome to our Unitarian Universalist congregation. My name is John McClellan, and I'm a member of the Sunday Services Committee for this growing, journeying community. We welcome all of you to our service, especially those of you who are searching for a spiritual home. Many of us were once too seeking for something larger than ourselves to which we could belong. A sense of rootedness to hold us as we create meaning together. We do that well here, though not perfectly. In this congregation, we strive not for perfection, but for authenticity and connection. Whether it's your first time in worship with us or your 100th time, we hope that you'll find here questions that stretch you, people who befriend you, and liberal religious values that challenge you to join us in loving boldly, living justly, and welcoming radically. People's Church is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association and part of a tradition of liberal religion. Here, our mission is to be a beloved community, embracing and serving our diverse world. Welcome to all.
And as we begin, several announcements. We had many things scheduled to happen after church today: an art wall reception for this beautiful art, a substance abuse and overdose prevention training, an inquirer's class, and all of those have been canceled and will be rescheduled for a later date. None of them needed to happen at this moment, so we're keeping each other safe. The memorial service for Mike Baker, father of church member Jemmy Baker, scheduled for 2 p.m., will go forward today. Over the past few weeks, as a church, we aspired to raise $40,000 to make up for our expected budget deficit. And 63 households gave, and we raised $38,043. So, so if you squint, we met our goal. We haven't put all of the flames up on the poster in the lobby yet, but if you want to be the one who makes us really make that goal, there is still time. We need $2,000 minus $43, whatever that is. This Friday, is a community transgender day of remembrance ceremony. It will happen at 11:05 in the morning at the Stetson Chapel at Kalamazoo College. I will be one of the faith leaders participating, and all are welcome to join this solemn service where we remember trans people who were killed over the last year because of their identity. Next Sunday, following church, we will have a memorial service for church member Ivan Kleinstecker, who died a few weeks ago. A visitation will begin at 12:30 and the service will be at 1:30. And today I get to give the bazaar announcement. There's a lot of things, okay? Because the bazaar is on Saturday. We have come so far, we have made so many pasties, and there's a few more things we need to do to make it be a success next Saturday. So first, there are 7 more yard signs available that are out in the foyer. So if you're here in person today and you live somewhere where you can put one, or you know somebody who lives somewhere where you can put one so people can walk or drive by and see the sign, please take it, because they do no good sitting in our foyer. They do much more good out in the world. So please sign it out. There's a sign out sheet, and then take it with you. We don't want any of them to be unused. Tomorrow night, we are having what we call Monday Madness, which is where we clear out the chairs and things like that. So it's at 6 here at the building, and you work for an hour and then get free pizza dinner, which is a pretty good deal, all things considered. So it's for anybody of any age who can come and be able to move some things that are as heavy as chairs and start to get our space set up. We also need 15 people on Saturday at 3 at the end of the bazaar to help sweep and vacuum and reset the furniture. So this can be done in about an hour if we have enough people, and if we don't have enough, it can drag on long into the evening. So please help us finish strong. You can sign up at the table or online, wear a mask for all of these things. If you have a good vacuum, bring that too, and youth and families are welcome. So because of the COVID outbreak in our church right now, please take all precautions to protect ourselves and our guests. All of our day of volunteers will be wearing masks for the bazaar, and masks will and because of this, we need a team of backups and understudies, because we anticipate that between now and the bazaar, there might be a few more people who get sick or have other things come up. So we have a sign-up sheet both in person and online. So if you are someone who is free next Saturday and just didn't get around to signing up, this is your invitation, and you will be the first ones that we call when somebody can't be there. And it will save us the heartbreak of scanning through the directory and calling people at random. So please don't make me do that. And then your baked goods, jams, crafts are welcome and needed for our people specialties tables. You can sign up at the table or online, and please bring them either next Friday evening between 4 and 7, so they can be priced and arranged in advance, or you can bring them early on Saturday so the volunteer teams can set them out and make them look nice. If you've signed up to make one of the specialty cookie recipes, please come to the sign-up table and pick up your recipe and any special ingredients. And there's a few other volunteers.
Oh, this is our place. This is our home. Working and seeking, we're never alone. In this mortar and stone, these windows and walls, love's earthly home, heeding the call. It's bread for the journey, oil for the flame, for people of love, people It's hard to believe there is peace when war rages on. And it's hard to believe there is love in hate's raging throng. But for every brave soldier, a peacemaker takes her own stand. And for every soul long turned away, there waits a new hand. Oh, let it be you. Let it be me. Here in love's dwelling, we learn to believe. In this mortar and stone, these windows and walls, love's earthly home, heeding the call. It's bread for the journey, oil for the flame, for people of love, people of hope, people of change. When a place is what welcomes you in, you build it, you change it, so the promise of love can begin here in this room. Oh, here in these halls, hearts open wide, welcoming all. In this mortar and stone, these windows and walls, love's earthly home, heeding the call. It's bread for the journey, oil for the flame, for people of love, people of hope, people of change, for people of love, people of hope, people of change. We're living out love, living out hope, living out change. Sing out for love, sing out for hope, sing out for change. So now I believe in the sun in the dark of the night.
I'd like to call Leah Grace and Hazel Ruth up to light the chalice. Good work. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I can't do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do.
We have many folks with us on Zoom this morning. So in addition to our chalice lit here at People's Church, there are chalices on Gull Road, in sunny Pawpaw, the Millwood neighborhood, Texas Coroners, Richland Township, Westwood, Portage, Leisure Point, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Parkview Hills, Oshtemo, the Vine neighborhood. I'll take a breath for more to come in. There's so many. And someone shares, in my heart. And West Main Hill. And Pawpaw. And Texas Township. What a gift to be able to be together in this way, in this time. Today is a day to celebrate the newest members of People's Church. Since our last new member ritual in May, 8 people have joined the church. And today we celebrate the ones who wanted to be publicly celebrated and the ones who are here today, because a few decided against it today. So in 1892, the members of People's Church adopted the bond of union. And for the last 131 years, every new member of People's Church has made the same promise, with only minor updates to make the language more inclusive. So today we are welcoming some of our newest members by reciting these words together again. And Brian Lewis, a member of the Board of Trustees, will lead us. The words are in your order of service, and they should be on the screen as well.
Thank you, Reverend Rachel, very much. Please join me in unison the reading of our Bond of Union, welcoming our newest members. Earnestly desiring to develop in ourselves and the world honest, reverent thought, faithfulness to our highest conception of right living, the spirit of love and service to all people, and allegiance toward all the interests of morality and religion, as interpreted by the growing thought and purest lives of humanity. We join ourselves together, hoping to develop one another in all good things, and to advance the cause of in the community. We base our union upon no creed test, but upon the purpose herein expressed, and welcome all who wish to join us to help establish truth, righteousness, and love in all the world. And I'd like to point out to the Zoomers, if you're willing and able, please type in welcome or text an emoticon of some kind so that we know everybody is here together in spirit. Thank you.
And let us welcome a few of our newest members. As I call your names, please come forward. You can select a chalice off our table of home chalices, and Brian Lewis will light a flame for you from our common chalice. There are photos and introductions to some of our newer members on the back of your order of service, and they will be in the newsletter. And one of the things that I appreciate about this group is that often when people's people have been here for a while without officially becoming members, they do it very quietly, because I don't know if they feel some sort of way about taking a few years to discern. And this group, many of them have been here for a while. One of them was raised in our church, and they are still signing up for the public recognition. So let us celebrate. So the folks who are not here that had asked to be celebrated today, who we will also celebrate later, include Galileo Idarosa DeRoche, Katie Takahashi, and we're also here to celebrate, and Kyle Lipinski, and we're here to celebrate today Melissa Dancy and Charles Henderson. Come on down, this is your moment. I mean, we do have enough if you each want one, you could go for it. We're good. So many welcomes from our Zoom congregation and the people here. We are so glad you are among us. And Now we are singing our children and teachers to their classes today.
Go forth in peace in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way, and may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go forth in peace in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way, and may the joy of life surround you wherever.
Are in all of the ways, in your care, in your comfort, and also in your money, as we continue to do the work of People's Church. The offering will now be received. Our words for meditation today are a traditional Hindu prayer translated and adapted by Abhi Janamanchi. May good befall all. May there be peace for all. May all be fit for excellence. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all experience what is good. May no one suffer.
Find a stillness, Lord, a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Our first reading is Perfectionism is a Thief by an anonymous author. There's always an excuse not to grace the doors of the space that is there to help you. Perhaps you don't quite yet have your stuff together in the way you would like. Perhaps your appearance is a little messier than you'd like to show to others. Perhaps you have done things that are unforgivable, and that if you can just figure out how to undo them, then you'll be ready to receive the help. Perhaps the addiction or the behavior hasn't gotten so bad that you can't stand living with yourself anymore. But once you get there, you'll go through those doors. Perfectionism is such a thief. It robs us of experiences we could be having, of growth we could be experiencing, of the help we so desperately need right now. If anyone feels perfectly anything as they reach out in the midst of a desperate moment, they're telling you a lie, and they are lying to themselves. The moment of asking for help is a tender moment. You may not be perfect, but the help and support are there for you anyway. So you may as well not wait for the perfect moment and just reach out to let folks know what you need. Choose to Bless the World by Rebecca Ann Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you choose? What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love. Protesting, urging, insisting, that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting.
Today, When I Could Do Nothing by Jane Hirschfield. Today, when I could do nothing, I saved an ant. It must have come in with the morning paper still being delivered to those who shelter in place. A morning paper is an essential service. I am not an essential service. I have coffee and books, time, a garden, silence enough to fill cisterns. It must have first walked the morning paper as if loosened ink taking the shape of an ant. Then across the laptop computer, warm, then on to the back of a cushion. Small black ant alone, crossing a navy cushion, moving steadily because that is what it could do. Set out in the sun, it could not again have found its nest. What then did I save? It did not move as if it was frightened, even while walking my hand, which moved it through swiftness and air. Ant, alone, without companions, whose ant heart I could not fathom. How is your life? I wanted to ask. I lifted it. I took it outside. This first day when I could do nothing, contribute nothing, beyond staying distant from my own kind, I did this.
Once again, I invite you to join me in song from your seats. Creative love, our thanks we give, that this our world is incomplete, that struggle greets our will to live, that work awaits our hands and feet, that we are not yet fully wise, that we are in the making still, as friends who share one enterprise and strive to blend with nature's will. What though the future long delay, and still with faults we daily go, it gives us that for which to pray, a field for toil and faith and hope. Since what we choose is what we are, and what we love we yet shall be, the goal may ever shine afar, the will to reach it makes us free.
Lauren Isley was depressed and hopeless. Life felt barren of meaning, barren of joy. He didn't know what to do, so he went to the beach. The change of scenery didn't change his mood. He couldn't sleep, so early one morning he got out of bed and started walking along the shore. It was low tide, and this ocean beach was known for its shells, so people were out collecting. The hotel that Lauren was staying at had giant boiling pots of water ready, so the collectors could cook out the shell's original inhabitants before taking them home. And Lauren, a paleontologist and nature writer, walked down the beach. He especially noticed all of the starfish, strewn everywhere as though the night sky had showered down, he writes. He notices a rainbow in the breaking dawn and a person standing where the rainbow meets the land, far down the beach. That person was not in the bent posture of the shell hunters. That person was throwing things into the water. And Lauren slowly walks towards the person and sees him pick up a starfish. Here's the story in Lauren's words. "It's still alive," I ventured. "Yes," he said, and with a quick yet gentle movement, he picked up the star and spun it over my head and far out into the sea. It sank in a burst of spume, and the waters roared once more. It may live, he said, if the offshore pull is strong enough. He spoke gently, and across his bronze-worn face, the light still came and went in subtly altering colors. I said, "Do you collect?" "Only like this," he said softly, gesturing amidst the wreckage of the shore, "and only for the living." He stooped again, oblivious of my curiosity, and skipped another star neatly across the water. "The stars," he said, "throw well. One can help them." He looked full at me with a faint question kindling in his eyes, which he seemed to take on the far depths of the sea. "I do not collect," I said uncomfortably, the wind beating at my garments. "Neither the living nor the dead. I gave it up a long time ago. Death is the only successful collector." I nodded and walked away. Lauren continues, "I turned as I neared a bend in the coast and saw him toss another star, skimming it skillfully far out over the ravening and tumultuous water. For a moment, in the changing light, the sower appeared magnified, as the casting larger stars upon some greater sea. He had, at any rate, the posture of a god. But he is a man, I considered sharply, bringing my thought to rest. The star thrower is a man, and death is running more fleet than he along every sea beach in the world. Perhaps you know this story. The image of the man throwing starfish into the ocean is a powerful one, and it has been recast as a children's story or as a Christian parable where the thrower is Jesus, though that doesn't really make a lot of sense theologically, and in many other ways. But it began with this essay, The Star Thrower, by the depressed paleontologist Lauren Isley, published in 1964. I tell the story today because it's a parable about power and harm reduction. The star thrower acts with a profound awareness of his power and his lack of power. He knows he cannot stop the tide from receding, leaving solar sea creatures stuck on the shore, where they might perish either from the human shell collectors or be dried to death by the rising sun. The star thrower knows that he cannot save every sea creature. He can throw starfish well and chooses to work far away from the parts of the beach where the shell gatherers are. There are all kinds of other creatures on that beach that he cannot save. He can't throw those other beings as far, so he doesn't. He isn't saving every creature, but he saves who he can. He knows that death is running more fleet than he along every sea beach in the world. And the star thrower does what he can. He saves what he can, who he can. More starfish live because of his efforts. It isn't perfect. Many more starfish die than live. And the star thrower does it anyway. And as the children's story version says, it sure matters to the starfish he does throw. Human power is like this. We have such capacities and such limitations all at once. Writer John Green put this so well in his book of essays, The Anthropocene Reviewed. He writes, "I want to understand the contradictions of human power. We are at once far too powerful and not nearly powerful enough. We are powerful enough to radically reshape the Earth's climate and biodiversity, but not powerful enough to choose how we reshape them. We are so powerful that we have escaped our planet's atmosphere, but we are not powerful enough to save those we love from suffering. We are at once far too powerful and not nearly powerful enough. We can try to harness our power and our gifts to choose to bless the world, and sometimes that is not enough. This is so clear when we love someone with an addiction or when we struggle with addiction ourselves. We yearn for more power. We wish we could overcome addiction through force of will, or that the strength of our love would make our beloved person sober. And we know that this is not how this goes. Most addictions are diseases of the brain and the body. Love and willpower are not a cure, just like they don't cure other diseases. Harm reduction can be an ethical guide for us as we live in this world where we are both far too powerful and not powerful enough. So harm reduction is an idea that comes to us from public health, and it's a concept that recognizes that behaviors like drug use and higher risk sexual activity are a part of our world. And there are things that we can do, policies and programs that we can follow to minimize negative impacts. Because we know that just say no is not a viable public health strategy. We know that abstinence-only sex education is a failed public health strategy. And so how do we manage the impacts of riskier choices that people do make? So needle exchanges can keep users of injectable drugs safe from contracting HIV or hepatitis C if they're given clean needles and are not sharing needles. Condom distribution and pre-exposure prophylaxis or PrEP can reduce the spread of sexually transmitted infections. Naloxone, also known as Narcan, can keep people who have overdosed on opioids alive. It is a miracle of a medicine. And all of this is harm reduction. It doesn't solve the underlying issues of what has led to someone's addiction or riskier sexual behavior. It doesn't stop the low tide from receding, right? And stranding sea creatures on the beach, but it does minimize the pain. Harm reduction is caring for humans and keeping them and others safe. It's throwing back the starfish that are within our reach. And part of our day at church today was supposed to be the Special Collection for Cope Network, who does the work of reducing harm caused by drug use in our community. And we canceled the class on substance use disorder and overdose prevention that would have happened today and would have gotten Narcan kits in the hands of more people in our community. So there's an irony in practicing harm reduction by canceling the harm reduction workshop. So that is where we are today, and we'll do it at another time. So hopefully this day that was supposed to be all perfectly coordinated with the theme will just inspire you to sign up when it comes around next time. So I think harm reduction is so vital for Unitarian Universalists, especially to consider, is because it aligns with our values. Here at People's Church, as Unitarian Universalists, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, that all people have the right to flourish with dignity and worthiness. We know that all people are worthy of care. There is nothing you can do, we can do, anyone can do, no way that you can be that can put you outside of the circle of care. The lives of people with active addictions are worthy and precious. The lives of people who engage in higher risk sexual activity are worthy and precious. Everyone, no exceptions, are worthy and precious. And how often do we all hear otherwise, right? There are so many loud voices that say that people deserve pain and suffering, that they get what they deserve if something bad happens to them, that certain people are not worthy of love or care or even life. And we reject all of that. That is not our values. That is not our theology. Our faith calls us to reject that kind of moralism. It calls us to reject dismissal and dehumanization reject practices of hierarchy that tell us some lives are more worthy than others. We reject practices of judgment that degrade all of us. Our faith inspires us to know in our bones and show in our deeds that every person is precious. There are no exceptions, there are no asterisks in our principles or in our values, many of which are written up on that wall right now. There's nothing anyone can do to make them, to make us deserve disease or pain or death. It does come for us, of course, but we don't deserve it, and there's a difference there. There are ways that so many of us, so many of you are living into this ethic of harm reduction, even if we don't use those words, right? Mask wearing and staying home and social distancing are all harm reduction tools, all ways of decreasing COVID infections. I had conversations this week about whether we require masks today, and I was hesitant at first, and then our numbers rose, and then I sat with this sermon and realized that of course we must. Wearing masks in the context of COVID spread is who we are called to be. COVID spread last Sunday requires masks today. And harm reduction is not just a public health ethic. It can be a guide that helps us navigate all sorts of systems and circumstances that we cannot fix. We are not powerful enough to fix, but we can make better. So last February, I spoke about harm reduction as a way to minimize the harms we create as consumers in our global capitalist system. Because there are people that are impacted by our choices that we will never know. We will never know directly how they are impacted. And we can buy local, buy fair trade, buy less, reuse, upcycle, and share. Those are all ways that reduce the harm that are part of the system that we live in, that we cannot avoid being part of. They all return a few starfish to the sea or put the ants outside. My friend, the Reverend Ashley Horan, who is the organizing strategy director at the Unitarian Universalist Association and who preached to us about a year ago, reminds the people in her circle every election day that voting is a harm reduction strategy, right? We don't get to remake the world with one election. We might not even like any of the candidates on the ballot, but we can make choices that protect at least a little more the most valuable people in our vulnerable earth, or the most vulnerable people in our vulnerable earth, right? There are differences, even if it's a lesser of two evils. A less evil is still better than a worse evil. It's a few more starfish back to the sea, a few more ants back to their habitat. All of the things that we and others are doing to mitigate the impacts of climate change are also harm reductions. So solar panels and insulation and net zero work and biking and reducing energy use, all of it. So many starfish thrown back to the ocean as we all race against the fleetness of death. After Lauren meets the star thrower on the beach, he has a spiritual crisis. He is moved by that star thrower, and he wrestles with death and Darwin, Freud, and the Bible, and the ideas of distance and objectivity that he has been taught to practice as a scientist. He writes, "It was though I was being asked to confront in all its overbearing weight the universe itself. Love not the world," the biblical injunction runs, "neither the things that are in the world." And there was at last an utter stillness, awaiting as though for a cosmic judgment. He continues, "But I do love the world. I whispered to a waiting presence in the empty room. I love the small ones, the things beaten in the strangling surf, the bird singing which flies and falls and is not seen again. I choked and said, I love the lost ones, the failures of the world. And with this recognition that he is not something separate from the nature that he loves, but of it, he comes to a deep peace, a knowledge deep in his bones that he is connected to the world, not as some distant scientific observer, but a participant. To use our words, he acknowledges his place in the interdependent web of all existence. There on the wall. And the next morning, Lauren walks the early morning beach again, but he is different this time. He writes, I found the star thrower in the sweet rain-swept morning. That great many-hued rainbow still lurked and wavered tentatively beyond him. Silently, I sought and picked up a still living star, spinning it far out in the waves. I spoke once briefly. I understand, I said. Call me another thrower. Only then I allowed myself to think, he is not alone any longer. After us, there will be others. I picked and flung another star, perhaps far outward on the rim of space. A genuine star was similarly seized and flung. I could feel that movement in my body. It was like sowing, the sowing of life on an infinitely gigantic scale. I looked back across my shoulder. Small and dark against the receding rainbow, the star thrower stopped and flung once more. I never looked again. The task we had assumed was too immense for gazing. I flung and flung again while all about us roared the insatiable waters of death. But we, alone and small in the immensity, hurled back the living stars. Somewhere far off across bottomless abysses, I felt as though another world was flung more joyfully. I could have thrown in a frenzy of joy, but I set my shoulders and cast, as the thrower of the rainbow cast, slowly, deliberately, and well. The task was not to be assumed lightly, for it was humanity as well as starfish that we sought to save. So may we travel along our shorelines, tossing starfish back to the sea, rescuing the starfish and ourselves. And may harm reduction guide us as we live in this world both far too powerful and not powerful enough. May we love the world, the small ones, the lost ones, the failed ones, including the parts of ourselves that might feel small or lost or failed. May we choose to bless the world. May it be so. May we make it so. And amen.
I invite you to rise and bow to your spirit to sing our closing song together. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
So on this Sunday, when we have our masks or are staying at home, we are already living into the ethic that I preached about. We are already practicing harm reduction. So may we go out with both our tremendous power and recognizing that we are not powerful enough, and do the work that is ours to do, to throw some starfish back to the sea and ease the suffering in this beautiful, baffling, heartbreaking world. Let us go in peace and go in love.